Just trying to survive and learn to love along the way by Foreplay on AO3. Episode 71, Chapter 71 of Cookies and a Discussion. Shouta avoids as many students as he can on his way back to the dorms. The talk with Hawks had gone quickly. The man is more than happy to make this a public trial, especially considering what he witnessed at the exam. Shouta goes through the front doors of his classroom building and finds the majority of them hanging out in the common room. Sashi is nowhere to be seen, so he must be taking a break from the kids. He doesn't blame him at all. Shouta is reluctant to admit, but he does love his class, even though they're annoying as hell sometimes. None of them even notice that he's returned, save for Izuku, who gives him a small wave. Shouta just smiles in return, and heads over to his apartment so that he could update his husband. As soon as he opens the door, he's greeted with the smell of baking cookies. Sashi is in the kitchen, mixing together another batch. The kids stretch you out that much. Only a few in particular. Sashi turns towards him, a frown on his face. Oh, which one caused issues this time? Sashi puts down the mixing bowl and claps his hands in front of him. Oh, nothing like that, Sho. What did Recovery Girl have to say? Oh, so it's those kids that are stressing him out. Now that Shouta thinks about it, that makes the most sense. They're all mostly okay. We need to talk to All Might about Izuku's quirk. Recovery Girl didn't know? His husband looks surprised. She at least never seen it with All Might, so chances are he probably won't either. There's a minute of silence before Sashi speaks up. Damn. What about the others? Well, Kirishima needs hearing aids, but apparently Shota's cut off by their door opening. There's 2 steps of footsteps, one of them distantly their son's. Dad? Sashi frowns at him, at the tone in Izuku's voice. In the kitchen. Izuku comes into the room moments later. What's going on, baby? His husband breaks the silence. I think you should talk to Kirishima about hearing aids. Izuku directs this at him. Did something happen? Well, a bunch of us were together in the common room, and you know how loud the class gets. Shouta nods at him, and Izuku takes it as his cue to continue. So, there was, 4 different conversations happening. Kirishima wasn't participating in any of them, and I could tell he was getting overwhelmed. Then someone asked him something, but he couldn't understand them, so they just upset him more. This is exactly what Recovery Girl warned him about. So you brought him here? Was that okay? Of course, kiddo. How about you help your dad with these cookies while I go talk to him? Izuku nods at him and turns to Sashi. Shouta heads out to their living room. Kirishima is sitting on one of their couches, radio perched on his lap. He's petting her distractedly while gazing at the pictures of Izuku on the walls. He walks loudly and seats himself on the coffee table in front of the couch, but Kirishima still jumps in surprise when he looks over and finds him there. Radio complains loudly before resettling herself on his lap. What's going on, Kirishima? Shouta makes sure to speak loudly and clear. It's unfortunate that Kirishima doesn't know very much sign language yet. Nothing, sensei. Shouta doesn't answer, just raises a brow until the boy deflates a little. It's just a few issues with my hearing. He's relieved that Kirishima is being straightforward. He already knows what the issue is, but he didn't want to come right out and say it. He also didn't want to have to push him for that information. I've heard. Recovery Girl suggested hearing aids, right? Kirishima nods at him, before focusing on the cat, with a frown on his face. What do you think about that? Well, it sounds nice, but I don't think I could get them. Scratch that. Kirishima is not being straightforward at all. Shouta feels like he's playing a guessing game. Is it a money issue? Because this was a school-related incident. UA would probably pay the full amount. Kirishima shakes his head, refusing to look up. You're gonna have to spell it out for me, kid. I'm no mind reader. Recovery Girl can't do tests for that, right? No, she's not trained as an audiologist. Shouta thinks he can see where this is heading. then I'll have to go to a specialist, right? Yeah, probably have to leave the school to do it. And stuff like that would require parent permission. Ah, it is all clear now. Yeah, kid. You haven't told your mom yet, have you? Shouta doesn't realize he's spoken quieter with his reaction until Kirishima finally looks up, confusion pulled at his eyes. He repeats himself, and Kirishima shakes his head sadly and doesn't look back down. His eyes keep contact for a few minutes before turning his gaze back to the walls. I'm scared. You think she'll be mad? Kirishima shrugs at him. Shouta can see the tears building up, but he doesn't reach out yet. More like sad. But last time I got hurt, she almost pulled me out of school, and this time was way worse. The kid pulls a hand from Radio's fur and rubs at his eyes. Kirishima, this is something your mother should know about. He looks back to Shouta, tears forgotten. I can't. I'm not saying you have to now, but eventually you guys are going to be let back home, and that is something she needs to know beforehand. So, I'll just, not hear until I have the guts to tell her? I can't do that, Sensei. Kirishima sounded so distraught, but this is something Shouta can fix. You know, since you guys live here permanently right now, Yue has partial custody, right? What does that mean? It means that one of your teachers can sign any parental stuff, so you don't need to tell your mother yet, and you could still get your hearing aids. Really? At Shota's nod, Kirishima breaks into a toothy smile. Wait, aren't there, long waiting lists for that kind of stuff? The kid's face falls a little, so Shouta turns towards the kitchen. Sashi, come out of here for a second. His husband appears in moments, and he thinks he may have been waiting for this. Yeah, Sho, what's up? How quickly could you get Kirishima in with your audiologist? If I tell him it's for one of my students, probably tomorrow afternoon. Hell, he'll probably come to the school, so we don't have to go to his office. During your free period. He can't do the training exercise right now anyways, so that would be the best time. He turns back to Kirishima, to find wide eyes trained on them. That sound good to you, kid? Since I've got class, President Mike could stay with you if you want. That sounds great. Thank you, senseis. Shouta smiles. At least that's one problem dealt with. One more thing, listener. How would you feel about private sign language lessons? I know you've been learning from Bakugou, but learning from a teacher may be easier. I'd be more than happy to teach you, and answer any questions you may have. Kirishima stares up at Sashi in awe, eagerly nodding his head. He can't help the warm feeling in his chest. His husband is so thoughtful. Just offering up his help like that? Shouta really is the luckiest man. Alright, I'll go make the phone call. Sashi leaves the room, so Shouta turns back to Kirishima. Instead of the eager look he was wearing a minute before, the kid has a contemplative look on his face as he looks back down at Radio in his lap. Something else in your mind, kid? He nods, but doesn't respond. What's going on? I've been thinking, would you be able to set me up with more counseling with Hound Dog? Shouta opens his mouth to reply that yes, he can, but Kirishima just keeps going. I know I said it was fine after the training camp, and I was, but after the exam, the nightmares are a lot worse, and I'm having trouble with stupid things, so I want to fix this before it gets worse. His voice tapers off at the end, and Shouta isn't sure the kid could even hear himself speak. I think counseling is a great idea, Kirishima. I'll be more than happy to set you up with Hound Dog. Kirishima looks up, a smile on his face. Really? Thank you, Sensei. Before Shouta can say anything, Kirishima is gently pulling Radio off his lap and wrapping his arms around him in a tight hug. Shouta gives his head a few pats before the kid lets go, face nearly as red as his hair. Thank you, Sensei. I have to go now. Kirishima rushes from the door, quietly closing the door on his way out. Shouta reveals in the silence before his husband speaks up behind him. So, how many kids are we at now? That is hilarious, and I love it so much. Okay, this was a sweet chapter. I thought it was going to be just all Hawks, but I'm glad that Kirishima's going to get the hearing aids that he needs. It will help him alchemate a lot more to, the thing that's, going on, his loss of senses. So, chapter 72 is of meetings and quirks. Summary. Hizashi has 2 meetings today. One of them, which will be somewhat pleasant. I feel like this is going to be, one is going to be about, All Might and Izuku, and then the other one's going to be Kirishima and his hearing aids. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be cool. That's going to be nice. So far, things are starting to even out again. Things are starting to be good again. Thankfully. Thank you. Thank God. But yeah, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.